Your Creative Push, episode 133. But you always, always, always need to stay true to yourself and keep doing what feels right to you. Hey everybody, welcome to Your Creative Push. This episode is a special one. This is my first attempt at a solo episode. Well, actually, that's not true. Episode 0 was my first attempt, but I don't like to go back and listen to that because I am just a little podcasting baby back then, and in the 130 plus episodes since then, I feel like I've learned a lot, and I feel like now I've developed something to say myself. There's certain things that have come up throughout the podcast, throughout the interviews that I've done that, I don't know, have really struck a chord with me. So today's episode is about being your own motivation. It's about when a teacher or a parent or somebody that you really look up to, especially when you're younger, especially as you're kind of coming up and really trying to be a creative person, whether it's an artist or a writer, and they say something that just completely defeat you and maybe make you quit doing art, quit doing whatever your creative passion is for a very long time because you look up to these people and they don't give you that support, or they just kind of tear you down with just a few words. So what we're going to try to do today is we're going to listen to a few examples of that from the interviews that just really pissed me off. And then I'm going to tell you what I really truly believe. It's one of the most important things, I think, about the gift that you probably have that nobody else can see. But we're going to try to help you to see that and to make sure that you don't need anybody else's approval. You don't need anybody else's support. You can be your own support. You can be your own motivation, and how to use that to continue to push through your art career. So with that being said, we are going to start out with an example back from episode 29 with Ronnie Allen, who is a fantastic writer who has a story about a teacher that kind of tore her down. So let's hear it.
I was a freshman in college on Long Island, so I was all of 19. So we're going back a good 46 years, all right? So it's a long time for a memory, and it's so important, and we'll get into something else also, but an English teacher, and I'm sitting in front of the class because I always like to sit in the front. A teacher came over with a paper that he marked an F on. He slams it down on my desk, face down, and he said to me in front of the class, loudly enough for everyone to hear, "You write like a 3-year-old." I'll tell you, that stuck with me, and my goal was to prove this man wrong. He wasn't a youngster. He might have been in his 40s at the time. I don't even know if he's still around. I don't remember his name. I remember his face. But that carried with me through college, through my master's dissertation, and I did a full dissertation, through writing in my holistic healing, and I've been published in several professional journals, alternative health journals. I also published 2 nonfiction books on screenwriting. It stayed with me through my novel writing, through being published, and it's always that doubt of not good enough.
And if that didn't piss you off enough, here is a snippet of my conversation with JT Ellison from episode 53.
I mentioned earlier the path that I ended up taking with politics, and the reason why I did that, I really wanted to go get an MFA, Master of Fine Arts, and be a writer. That's what I wanted. And I, did everything. I wrote everything. I read everything. And my senior thesis, my professor told me, she said, "Listen, you're just not good enough to get published."
What?
So I quit.
This was a college professor that said that?
It was my thesis advisor. I quit writing because I respected her. And when she said that, I believed her. So that's why I didn't write for 8 years, because somebody told me I wasn't good enough.
Oh, those stories piss me off so bad. Like, what are these teachers doing? If you've had anything like that in your life, if you've had a teacher that told you you write like a 3-year-old or draw like a toddler, and you've been holding on to that, I encourage you to just tell those people to go fuck themselves. Just forget about them. They do not matter. They are just jealous. Whatever. Fuck them. Are you getting pissed off yet? Oh my God. And finally, here's my conversation with Christina Bothwell from episode 131. And her source of discouragement came from her parents.
I know that when I told my parents that I wanted to go to art school, my mom had always really wanted to be a professional artist, but she, in that particular era, I think she felt that you could only choose to either be a mother and have children or be an artist. You couldn't do both. And so she had children. And so there was a lot of kind of bad feelings and maybe some, resentment when I announced that I wanted to go to art school. And I just wasn't going to be dissuaded because I knew that it was the thing that I loved most in the world. And my father just sat me down one night and he was in such a rage. And he just said, look, 1 out of 1 million people makes it as an artist, and you are not smart enough and you are not talented enough, and it is not going to be you. And I said, well, I want to try. And he said, well, we'll give you $1,000 a month to go to college, but you're on your own and we don't want to have anything to do with you. So that was pretty, I just remember driving away with the moving truck and kind of crying on the way. And but in another way, in the subsequent years, I would think when it seemed like it just was so hard to get into a gallery and to get things happening professionally, I just would think of how my parents were so terrified of the idea of me making it, whatever that meant, that I knew that they must be really afraid that it was possible. And so that kind of was something that gave me strength in a weird way.
Man, I bring these 3 examples up because I think it's common for people to have somebody in their life that says something disparaging about their work, or about what they're trying to do. And with negative comments, whether they come from online or from somebody that you really care about or a teacher that you really admire and look up to, they hurt. These comments hurt. And we talked about that a lot before too, is, if 100 people say, your work is great, but that one person says it sucks, you can't help but listen to that one person. And when it comes from such a high authority like a teacher or a parent, it just kills you. It kills you, and you can have that just stop you for years. And the opposite is true too. Sometimes you get that one teacher that sees your work and just tells you that you have potential and nobody else told you that before. And that can spur you to create for the rest of your life. It's so important to have those comments. But for me, it came my senior year of college when I had to take a writing course, and one of my professors really, brought me into the office and said that I had a real talent for it. And that changed my life, really. It really pushed me in the direction of wanting to write, and enjoying writing and having the confidence to say what I wanted to say. And that was really, really important to me. And I brought that story up while I was talking to Laura Ballmeister, because she had a teacher that really encouraged her and really jump-started her career. She's 16 and she's already a chairwoman of an art council. And so I asked her, what can people do if they don't have a teacher like she had or a professor like I had that gives them that encouragement and that really gives them the motivation to do it? And her answer really kind of surprised me, and it was really profound and really simple too. So let's listen.
Well, I guess they sort of have to be that person themselves and just force themselves to get started, and maybe it turns out to be awesome and they could, share it with others and try to get their opportunity in it, and maybe others realize that they really are good and then they can push them again.
Oh man, I think that this is such wise advice, and I totally agree with her, because I'll tell you something. When I started writing, I just had this feeling that I was good at it, and a lot of that feeling of being good at it came from this feeling of having fun and feeling whether or not something was right. But also, after fixing a particular thing that didn't feel right and tweaking it in just the right way, making the flow of the words be, just perfect, and then having it actually feel right, where if I were to tweak them again in a different direction, it would feel wrong again. So that if you change it back to the original thing that felt right, it feels right again. And I hope that makes sense, because all those feelings, That's intuition. And if you have that intuition, you probably have a real fucking talent for whatever it is that you're doing. And a lot of the time, this intuition isn't exactly what's considered, normal. And there's the shitty thing. That's the exact reason a lot of teachers and professors and anyone else might shit all over whatever you feel. And more importantly, whatever you know is right. Because they just don't see it. They don't get it. They've been down the traditional, quote, creative path. And they might even be jealous, of your brave nature or your out there ideas or your unique sensibilities. Because here you have this thing that's right. In your brain, it's right. And any kind of tweaks make it wrong, to you. They make it wrong to you. And then they shit all over your idea that is right, whatever right is. Because it's wrong for them. But to you, it's the truth. It's the truth of your heart. You tweaked it to your consciousness's content until everything else that you could do was wrong. And now they're telling you that you suck. You're pathetic. You write like a third grader. You have no taste. You need to keep working on it, yada, yada. And when you're coming up and unconfident and trying to learn and looking to these people to tell you the, quote, truth, we're now in a sticky wicket because the truth is different for different people. And your truth is not their truth. But now in your brain and your puppy dog eyes, your truth is shit. And that's a really tough thing to deal with. Your first failure or unacceptance coming from such an authority figure, someone you're, really looking to for affirmation. And it's totally understandable that it would lead you to give up for such a long time. So if you have those voices in your head, if you have that person that said something to you that you repeat over and over and over again, I want to tell you that you can give them one criticism back. Fuck yourself. Fuck that person that said that to you. Fuck them. Get them out of your head. Let's move on with our lives. Let's get back to being creative. Let's get back to getting better. And don't get me wrong, sometimes you do suck. Sometimes you do need to get to work in certain areas or, in a lot of areas. But progress comes from practice and innovation comes from mistakes. You need to keep grinding. You need to keep practicing. You need to keep fucking up. You need to keep faltering. You need to keep failing. But you always, always, always need to stay true to yourself and keep doing what feels right to you. And if you have that thing I was talking about earlier where something seems wrong and you tweak it and it feels wrong still, and then you tweak it again until it feels just right and nothing else seems right because of that newest version of it, I'm telling you right now that you have a voice, you have a taste, and you have something inside of you that doesn't exist in anyone else. And what's more important is that now you know it. You fucking know it. And it's a beautiful thing to have. It might not be anyone else's idea of, quote, correct, but it's your correct, and that is what art and creativity is all about. It's about putting yourself out there and letting other people join in. It's not about trying to adhere to one teacher's lessons plan or personal style. It's about innovating and creating a new way for the universe to communicate with itself. And when you have the ability to know ultra precisely what is correct and incorrect within yourself, within your own creative output, you are lucky. And nobody can tell you you're wrong. No teacher, no professor, no parent, no spouse, not me, and certainly nobody on the internet. You are correct. Fuck everyone else. And if you ever had anyone in your life demotivate you in the way we were talking about before, replace them with me. Replace them with my words of advice that you are fucking awesome. You are correct. And you gotta keep doing things your way. Of course, keep making progress, keep learning, keep developing your skill, but you are so lucky if you have that intuition. So don't let go of it. Yeah, I guess that's it. That's it for the solo episode. Sorry I got so fired up. Well, I'm not sorry that I got fired up, but I'm sorry that I cursed so much. I have to work on that. I hope that this motivated you. I hope that this inspired you, especially if you've had somebody in your life tell you that you suck. And I'd really appreciate if you do know somebody that has had a similar experience, that has maybe quit their creative pursuit for a long time because of something that somebody said. Share this with them, because this is obviously this is the first solo episode I'm doing, but it's the one thing that's really just pissed me off so much, hearing these stories and the many interviews that we've done. I hate to see people take such a long break. I can understand the many different reasons why people have breaks in their creative pursuit, but pursuing your creative passion is what life is all about, and for it to stop because of something that one person said, it just sucks so bad, and it's just such a shame to see. So I really hope that this can help anyone, just one person, that'd be great, just to get you back to doing that work and realizing that whoever said that to you, they ain't shit. They don't matter, and they just don't deserve to be in your head. They don't deserve a second thought. So if no other message of this podcast gets out to people, I really hope that this one does. It's really important to me. It really fires me up and pisses me off. So I really do hope that this could be helpful. That's it. That's all I've got for you. Hopefully you're inspired to go and get your work done. So please go and get it done. And we will be here for you on Friday with another interview. Back to the normal. So thanks so much for listening, and we will see you then. Bye. Never miss a push. Head to yourcreativepush.com/subscribe to find the easiest way for you to subscribe to the podcast.